Good evening, chaps. I have a great show for you tonight. There's several things I want to talk about this evening. So first, I want to give this channel's official prediction for the 2024 presidential election. I also wanted to get into how I think each of the two candidates can win this election because, and I do believe this is true, I think that Kamala Harris could win this presidential election, and I think Donald Trump could win this election. And this depends on how the two of them behave during this next month until the election. So, first, my official election. Now, I think some people might be surprised at this and disagree with me. Before you get upset and before you lose hope or anything like this, let me explain to you why I'm saying this, and also this does come with a lot of caveats. So here's my official election prediction. I think Kamala Harris is going to win, but only by a tiny bit. I think Kamala Harris will win, but she'll only win by a few votes. That's what I think is going to happen. And that's what I see as being the most likely scenario. I would not be surprised if Kamala Harris won this election by a tiny bit. I would not be surprised if Donald Trump won this election by a tiny bit. I would not be surprised if it ended up being a tie. However, I would be very surprised if one of the candidates won in a landslide. If Donald Trump or Kamala Harris won this in a landslide, I would be surprised. Because here's the important thing about this election. This election is super, super close. When Biden was the candidate, Trump was beating Biden in a landslide, and Trump would have beat Biden in a landslide if Biden hadn't dropped out, because everyone liked Trump better than Biden. Biden was so awful. But Kamala Harris is running a pretty good campaign so far, and I do think Donald Trump has hit several blunders at this point in his campaign. But am I saying that us Republicans and us Trump supporters should lose hope? No, of course not. The fact that I think she's going to win by just a little bit proves how important it is that people like us go and vote, that people like us go and campaign for Mr. Trump and the Republican Party, that people like us speak out. So I want everyone to go register to vote and vote on voting day. If you have free time and free money, campaign for Trump. Make videos about supporting for Trump like I am. Whatever you can do, because this, as I said, I think what's going to happen if the election day was today, I think what would happen if the election day was today was Kamala Harris would win, but just by a little tiny bit. Which is important because if we can get ourselves out there, then it would be so easy for us to switch this in favor of Trump. Because I think she's going to win if it was today by just a little bit. And 1 month is more than enough time to swing an election if it's only by a little bit, if one candidate is only winning by a little bit, because it's really close. So go campaign, go vote, because I think she's going to win, but I think she's going to win only by a little bit, which is why we need to change that, why we need to work to change that. I think the polls are so close. So there's one poll where Trump's winning, then another poll will come out where Kamala's winning, then another poll will come out where Trump's winning again, and then another poll will come out where Harris is winning again. So it's really tight. But getting on to the next point, why is this my official prediction? So during the 2016 election, Mr. Trump had a lot of things that he did very well and a lot of advantages to him that he isn't doing as well on during this campaign so far, and that he advantages he doesn't have. And Kamala Harris, as many problems as I have with her, and believe me, I have some big, big problems with her. I hate her. But she's running a much better campaign than Hillary Clinton was. So first off, there was a lot of hope for the Trump presidency during 2016, and a lot of people have felt like they've lost reason to believe in that hope. For example, one of Trump's main selling points was, "I'm going to end the wars in the Middle East," and he sort of let us down on that issue. He gave more foreign aid to Israel than any president before him. He changed the capital, the U.S. embassy, to Jerusalem. He supported the Abraham Accords, which led to October 7th and the Palestinian genocide. He kept us in Afghanistan despite promising to do otherwise. He kept us in all these wars in the Middle East. He increased drone strikes in the Middle East. So on the issue of Middle Eastern foreign relations, he did basically let us down. There were some issues of foreign issues where he did quite well, but not regarding the Middle East, certainly not, except for Saudi Arabia. He did a good job of keeping us a strong ally with Saudi Arabia, but overall, he did a very poor job with Middle Eastern foreign policy, which was a big letdown from a lot of his rhetoric during his 2016 campaign. And that's, I think, the main advantage he lost between 2016 and now, which is so many people had hoped that he would be the wreck the system candidate, that he was going to be completely different than all the other politicians and change everything and be the best president ever. But he behaved like a neocon on so many issues. He promoted neocon policies right, left, and center, which was very disappointing and caused a lot of would-be Trump supporters to lose faith in him. So I think that's his biggest disadvantage from then to now. Regarding Hillary Clinton, so Kamala Harris, as bad as she isn't nearly as corrupt as Hillary Clinton is, and she isn't nearly as evil as Hillary Clinton is. So on those two advantages, she's doing better. And I think, so the Trump campaign of 2024 is quite a bit worse than the Trump campaign of 2016. And as I've said, the Kamala Harris campaign of 2024 is much better than the Hillary Clinton campaign of 2016. So why do I say this? So Hillary Clinton, she wasn't getting a good grasp on her base. The leftists didn't want to vote for her because she's a right-wing capitalist, neoliberal. The white men didn't want to vote for her because she was always talking about how bad white men are and giving speeches on how terrible white men are. So white male Democrats and white male liberals didn't want to vote for her. She even lost the white women vote, as 51% of white women voted for Mr. Trump during the 2016 election. But then she chose the most boring possible vice president candidate ever. Her vice president was the most boring person to ever live. While this Tim Walz chap, even though I disagree with him on a whole lot of things, he's a lot more likable than her vice president, and he's a lot better at getting leftists to vote for him. He's always talking about economic populism, which is a good way to get leftists to vote for you. During the 2016 election, something like 10 or 20% of the Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Trump. And that was simply because Trump made himself more economically populous than Hillary Clinton. I'll keep your jobs here. She'll sell your jobs out. Just doing a really good job of that, which gained him a lot of support among certain groups of leftists and certainly with economic populists. Hillary Clinton was the most pro-capitalist, corrupt. She was like the villain in one of those really terrible old hippie movies like Ferngully. She felt like the villain in one of those movies. She was so corrupt and so in bed with these giant company mega corporations to a disgusting degree. Yeah, she seems like in that really terrible James Cameron movie Avatar, she felt like one of the antagonists from a movie like that. Just so corrupt and so corporate. But then during the 2016 debate, Donald Trump was right about a lot of things and corrected Hillary Clinton on a lot of things. For example, Hillary Clinton said should do a no-fly zone over Syria, which would have started World War III and a nuclear world-ending war with Russia. While Donald Trump said, no, I'm not going to do that because that will end the world. And instead, I'm going to keep our troops out of Syria to let Russia fight ISIS because Russia is already fighting ISIS, which is the correct thing to say. Did he actually do that? No, he lied and let us down. But he said the correct thing during the debate. This is completely different than in this most recent debate where he went to the more neocon, more neoliberal, more establishment position regarding Palestine. He said, oh no, she hates Palestine. If you elect her, Israel will die in 2 years. She hates Israel, so you need to elect me because I'll fight for Israel more. It's so painful. It was that part. It was so cringe. It's almost unbelievable. It was just a terrible neocon moment. And when I say stuff like this, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean I want Kamala Harris to win. This doesn't mean I'm rooting for Kamala Harris. I'm criticizing Trump and going hard on Trump because I want him to improve, because I want him to win this election. And another thing he did really well in the 2016 election was NAFTA. He said, she's going to sell out your jobs. Her husband signed NAFTA. That was a terrible idea. I'm going to keep all of our jobs here. Super based. We want a centralized economy, so super based. Tariffs are super based. And a trade with China. Then he basically destroyed Hillary Clinton on that issue. Then he did a really good job of talking about the all of these past wars in the Middle East. He said she was for the Iran war. I was against it. So that's a really good selling point. And but a lot of Trump's arguments during this most recent debate, they just weren't true. He said Israel would be dead in 2 years if you let Kamala Harris. So first off, If that was true, then believe you me, I would vote for Kamala Harris. I would cheat to vote for Kamala Harris multiple times if that was true, because that would be a good thing. But it's not true. Israel will still exist if Kamala Harris wins, because Kamala Harris is a Zionist Shabbos Goy race traitor. So of course it will exist. So it's just a flat out lie, and something that everyone knows is a flat out lie. The only people that believe, and also she's a Marxist. The only people that seriously believe, the two people that seriously believe that Kamala Harris is a Marxist and that she's pro-Palestinian and wants to see the death of Israel, are people that are just in complete and total neocon echo chambers. The vast majority of people see that for what it is, completely ridiculous. So as far as the Marxist claim, so if there's anyone here that actually believes that Kamala Harris is a Marxist, she's a capitalist. She's a sellout for the big mega corporations. She's a sellout for the global hegemonies that that are run by the social Marxist globalists. With the Obama presidency, so many Republicans used the really stupid argument and slandered Obama as a communist. Did he support common ownership of the means of production? Did he support creating a society free of government? Did he support creating a stateless, lawless, moneyless society? Did he support those things? No. Did he do those things? Did he give ownership of the means of production to the people? Did he create common ownership of the means of production? Did he create a stateless, moneyless, classless society? No. He served giant evil companies. He was an evil capitalist extremist that betrayed the working class people for big evil oligarchs. He was the farthest thing from a communist, and I think, as far as I can see, Kamala Harris is going to be the exact same thing, which is, I think, what I want to get here more broadly. So I want to talk about two things. First, how Trump could win the election, and second, how Kamala Harris could win the election. So first, I'm going to give you how I think Mr. Trump can win this upcoming election. So he needs to try to recreate all the things that worked well for him during the 2016 election. So one of the things he did a really good job on hitting Hillary Clinton on was foreign wars. So he would say, oh, I was against the war in Iraq. She supported the war in Iraq. Super based. In the debate, she said, let's go into Syria to fight ISIS. And he said, no, Russia's already fighting ISIS. Let's leave ISIS to let Russia fight ISIS. And let's leave Afghanistan and leave all the Middle Eastern countries. We're going to pull out of Afghanistan. Super, super based. Mega based. He said, so in that same debate, she said, I'm going to do a no-fly zone over Syria. He said, if you do a no-fly zone over Syria, then that will create a world-ending, apocalyptic, nuclear World War III with Russia, which is true, it would. Super based. Great rhetoric. Did he let us down on a lot of those issues? Yes, he did. But did he say the based things to get people to vote for him? Yes. So now but now he's doing the opposite. He's saying Kamala Harris is pro-Hamas, and Israel will be dead in 2 years if we elect Kamala Harris. No. So just and do you know what? So do you know what should be a death blow to Kamala Harris? Do you know what should kill Kamala Harris if Trump was campaigning correctly? Kamala Harris got endorsed by Dick Cheney. That should be an automatic execution. If I was running for president and I got endorsed by Dick Cheney, well, I mean, I guess it would depend on what he was endorsing me for, but that's a sign of extreme corruption and extreme pro-establishment. So Hillary Clinton, she got endorsed by a lot of these neocon monsters, and George Bush Sr. voted for her. So really, I would hit her really hard if I was Donald Trump on that issue. So just say, like, run ads saying, if you vote for Kamala Harris, you're voting for the same candidate Dick Cheney is voting for. That will kill any left-wing support of Kamala Harris, because leftists would rather die than be on the same side as Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney is leftists' worst enemy for valid reasons, because he is awful. So hit her really hard on that. And talk about the foreign wars, saying Kamala Harris is a pro-war candidate that wants to fund forever wars between Ukraine and Russia, Palestine and the Jews, China and Taiwan. I want to create peace. I'm going to create world peace. I'm going to cut foreign aid to Ukraine and Taiwan. If it was me, I would also cut foreign aid to Israel, but Donald Trump's obviously not going to do that. So instead say, I'm going to cut foreign aid to Ukraine and Taiwan to end any wars over there. And then I'm going to create a peace agreement between Israel and Palestine. So I'm the pro-peace candidate, and Kamala Harris is the pro-war candidate. Vote for me, I'm the peace candidate. He did that with Hillary Clinton, and that was so based. It got him so much support. He got like 10, 20% of the Bernie Sanders people to vote for him. So he should be doing that, but he's not. I really, really hit her hard on, you're the Dick Cheney candidate. I'm the anti-Dick Cheney candidate. Run ads on that. Then and Kamala Harris gave him a great opportunity to do that. So in the debate, when they asked her about the Palestinian genocide, she totally played both sides. She said, well, I want the Palestinian people to have UN recognition, but Israel has the right to defend itself. What is that code for? That's code for Israel has the right to commit genocide. Israel doesn't defend itself. It ethnically cleanses innocent civilians to expand and empower its evil ethno-state and its evil baby fellatio theocracy. So, and its evil Talmud theocracy. So she just lied there, but Trump could have so easily said, what she meant was she's going to fund Israel no matter what it does. I'm not going to use our taxpayer money to pay for forever wars. I'm going to establish peace between Israel and Palestine so we can end this war and stop wasting money on these crazy wars. It would have been so easy for him to say that, but he had to take the more warmonger, the more hawkish position on an issue that we shouldn't even be involved in. I know maybe I'm sounding a little bit crazy, but the white races are so cocked to Israel, I can't help but get angry on this stuff. And then corruption. So he hit Hillary Clinton really hard on corruption. Corrupt. Did he say Hillary Clinton is a communist? No, because that would have been ridiculous. That's just as ridiculous as saying Obama's a communist. Obama and Hillary Clinton aren't communist Marxists. They're right-wing capitalist neoliberals that will sell the American people to a dime to big, giant, evil companies, to big international multi-billion-dollar companies. And he did a really good job of playing himself as the everyman and the outsider to the corrupt establishment. Do that now. Just run ads saying, and this is true. Kamala Harris is the candidate that Dick Cheney, all of the multi-billion-dollar international companies, almost all of the rich celebrities, and almost all of the billionaires want to win. I'm the candidate that Dick Cheney doesn't want to win. The multi-billion-dollar international companies don't want to win. The Hollywood elites don't want to win. Run an ad saying that. It's true and it's based, and it will do you well. Also, so Joe Biden went totally soft regarding trade with China. Now, so when I say going soft on China, am I saying that in the same way the neocons say that when they want to put nukes all around China because they want to go to war with China? No, obviously not. But what I'm saying is we don't want to rely on Chinese goods for our economy. We want to have a centralized nationalist economy. So I don't want to raise tensions with China. I don't want China to be our enemy. I would like America to be allies with China, but we have to produce our own goods. So we have to say, well, you can be our friend, but instead of trading with you, we're going to just produce all our stuff for ourselves and with other countries because we can't rely on you. Sorry. That's what we need to do. And Biden failed on this. Not only did he threaten to go to war with China over dumb little Taiwan, but he ended the Trump tariffs on China. So now we have everything in America is made in China. And we don't have control over our economy. I want to live in a world where if China shut down, America would still be a thriving world superpower. But right now, if China shut down, I think America would shut down too because we're so reliant. America is behaving like a Chinese parasite. So say, look, here's another idea for an ad. Run an ad saying Kamala Harris is going to give your jobs to the Chinese in China. I'm going to keep your jobs here and keep all the jobs here. So both you can keep your job and we aren't reliant on an evil communist regime. There, super based and true and great idea. It will be very popular and it will go very well with the working class American people. But instead he's saying Kamala Harris is a Marxist communist. No, she's not. He just keeps using such dumb arguments. And I feel like this is driving me crazy because this is going to make me sound like a jerk, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you switched me out for Donald Trump, I could destroy Kamala Harris. I could beat Kamala Harris in a landslide because Kamala Harris is not a good candidate. She's an awful politician. So beating her should be as easy as pie, but Donald Trump kept making incompetent decisions. All right, so I just did a segment on how Donald Trump can win the 2024 presidential election. Now I'm going to do a segment on how I think Kamala Harris can win the 2024 election, as a Democrat advocate sort of thing, just to know what we need to trick Kamala Harris into not doing. So first, what could Kamala do to win the vote? So Kamala Harris could become more pro-Palestine. So what could she could do? She could convince Joe Biden to cut foreign aid to Israel, ban trade with Israel, ban Israeli goods in U.S., and have Benjamin Netanyahu arrested or assassinated, one of the two. If she did that, imagine how much praise I would give her. I would be like, man, now I feel split between Kamala and Trump because Kamala just did this super base thing. And she would instantly win every single leftist vote. A lot of leftists aren't going to vote for her because she's a Zionist. And leftists don't like Zionism because it's awful. But if she did that, then she would instantly rally like 99% of leftists under her and get 99% of the leftists' votes. So she could do that. Now, she could also run on free healthcare. That's another way she would unite leftists under her. And I think she would unite most of the Democrats. Now, is she going to unite Democratic elites? I don't think so. But a lot of working class Democrats do want free healthcare, not just the leftists. So I think that would help her win this election a lot. And this, I think, is the most important advice. Don't ever talk about political correctness. Don't ever talk about political correct outrage, and no identity politics. So what did Hillary Clinton do? Hillary Clinton ran campaigns on PC outrage. She would say, oh my gosh, Trump said the illegal aliens are rapists. He called them rapists. Trump said grab them by the you-know-what. Trump made fun of that person with the disability. Trump did this. Trump did that. Trump said there was that. I think this ad was called Role Models, if I'm not mistaken, but it just had Trump doing politically incorrect things, like saying, she had blood coming out of her eyes. She had blood coming out of her whatever. And so why was this such a bad campaign? Because this doesn't affect us. This is stupid political correct nonsense. Is that vulgar? Yes. Is that genteel? No. Is that churlish? Sure. But I'm not going to vote on which presidential candidate is the most classy. I'm going to vote on which presidential candidate has the better policies, and which presidential candidate has the best rhetoric, and which presidential candidate will move the Overton window to a better spot. Those are the issues I'm voting on, not which candidate is the most classy. That's not something people vote on. Um, I mean, I guess George Bush Sr. voted on it, but he's awful. So why should we follow him? Then she would say glass ceiling, break the barriers. So she would say, you need to vote for me because we should have our first women president, and it would be good for feminism if America had a woman president. So, so my response to that would be, no, women shouldn't be allowed to become president. But you know what normal people usually respond to that with? Who cares? I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. I care about whether you're going to make my life better or worse. And I care whether you're going to make the country better or worse. That's what normal people respond with. I'm not normal, but hopefully more people will become, well, now we're getting onto a different subject, but that's how normal people respond. So, if what Kamala Harris needs to do is if Trump did a tweet out that saying sent something along the lines of, if Kamala Harris wins the election, the White House is going to smell like fried chicken and curry. She shouldn't say, oh my gosh, this is racist. This is so racist. Don't vote for him because this is racist. You know what she should do? That nutty guy. Now, moving on to my better policies, moving on to my superior policies, that's how she should respond. Because if she runs ads and talks about political correctness or identity politics, she's instantly going to lose all of the white men. There's a lot of white male Democrats, and she'll lose them if she does that. Donald Trump in 2016 there were a lot of white male Democrats that voted for him, and it was because of poppycock like that. If Trump does something that she perceives as racist or sexist, ignore it or laugh at it. Don't get outraged by it and don't make a big deal out of it. And don't run on being a woman of color. Run on being a candidate with superior policies and superior rhetoric. But here's something I want everyone to know. Whatever you do, don't let Kamala Harris see this video, because I don't want her to win. I want her to lose. So what would be my greatest hope for Kamala Harris? That over this next month, she runs nonstop ads saying, vote for me because I'm a woman of color and we need a woman of color in the White House because for feminism, and this will make America feminist. So vote for the women of color to be a good ally to women of color. I would like to see ads like that, and I would like to see her running ads saying, Donald Trump said this politically incorrect thing. We can't vote for him, and you need to vote for me because you can't vote for the candidate that says politically incorrect things. I would have a giant smile on my face if she was running those ads, because then I would know she would lose, because everyone hates those ads. Those are so cringe. So she'll lose, and my boy Trump will win. So don't show her this video, and if you know Kamala Harris, then tell her to run those ads, because we need her to lose this election. All right. I think I'm going to save the rest of the things that have been going on for tomorrow or this Wednesday. And I think I'm going to call it good for this stream. So, good evening and good luck, and go vote.